Welcome back to the Lynn Miller Room here at the AAC on the Morehead State campus. This edition of the Eagle Sports Coaches Show. We're joined by Jaime Gordon and Coach. A great weekend, one match. But after last week, we had two matches. You had one midweek, a big matchup against Eastern Kentucky University. Tell us about that one.
Well, it was it was a great match for us. Anytime we can go into Richmond and take on the Colonels and walk out of there with a win, it's big. They had a great crowd. We kind of faltered a little bit in the second set, and they took advantage of it. But I was really happy with the way that our team responded in the third and fourth set, and we're able to come out of there with a win.
You mentioned that the fact that it's a tough place to play at times, and especially the rivalry between Eastern Kentucky and Morehead. It could be tiddlywinks, and people are going to get really sky high for it.
Yeah, and I think what's really fun too about that rivalry, and you'll see it in basketball, you'll see it in volleyball, and in football, that our fans travel really well. So we had a great presence of Morehead State fans in their gym, which is fun to see, and it allows our players to gain a little bit of a little bit of their own momentum and being able to play behind their own fans.
Come home, Murray State on Saturday, and first set went 25-17. Went okay.
Yeah.
We were talking before we went on. The second set was a little different.
Yeah, it was, and credit a lot of that to Murray State. They jumped out on us, and their offense really picked up a great deal, and our defense did not answer that challenge, and we found ourselves down 10-20, and we took a timeout and just kind of said, hey guys, let's settle down. Let's kind of grab a little hand sanitizer, wash our hands clean of it, and let's just focus on the next point coming up. And I thought our team did a really nice job of, especially when you're down by that type of margin, sometimes you start to think, oh gosh, we got to score 10 points. No, you just have to score one at a time. And we slowly inched our way back, fought really hard, and then we're able to take a really tight 29-27 second set.
Do you think that hurt Murray in a way after you come back, because you win the third set 25-9, and kind of demoralizes somebody when you're up that big and then on the road and then see it slips away?
It is, and I think it was probably a combination of two. I think they were feeling very confident in that second set, and they had some opportunities there for sure, and we kind of stole a set that, to be honest, we may not have deserved to have won. But at the same time, I think our team really carried that momentum over well into the third set, and they were very focused and saying, guys, we're going to make sure that we don't let this happen. And so our execution really took off in that third set.
As a coach, I know you don't like the fact that you're down, but to test these young ladies and to come out of that test with the way you did afterwards is probably a good coaching tool to use. It
is, and it is a kind of a double-edged sword in the sense that you do want to feel good about that fight, and you want to take that experience and carry it through, but you can't rely on that. You've got to make sure you don't put yourself into those positions. We were also fortunate to be at home. We had a great crowd for Saturday afternoon. Dr. Andrews once again was leading the charge and leading the cheers, and so as we got the momentum, they began to really feed off the crowd, and the energy got a lot greater, and you can't do that when you're on the road.
You're 8-2 at home, 12-6 overall right now on a 10-game winning streak. As you say, it's match per match, day by day. But right now, you have to feel decent with the way the first half of the season's went.
Yeah, if you would have taken a look at our schedule and said, hey, at this point you're going to be 12-6, 4-0 in conference, what do you think? I'll take that every single day. And we're now a quarter of the way through our conference schedule, and but October is where you see teams separate. In volleyball, you're going to see teams that maybe have been doing pretty well, and now that length part of the season starts to hit, and they may drop a little bit. Or you'll see some teams that have kind of struggled, and now they've got it figured out, and they start to make some surges. So what happens over the next 4.5 weeks is really going to dictate what happens for us this season.
You know, your young ladies got a treat after the Murray game, and you always get a treat. The fact that you got to hold a youth clinic to give back to, you know, the fans that are maybe a little younger that want to learn the game. Tell us how that got.
You know, it was great. We had a really nice youth clinic afterwards. Some really young kids, and you know, we do some things. We go out, we get balloons. I get buckets of candies and stuff like that. And we try and make them allow to have some fun with the game. And our players are fantastic with relating with them and kind of getting down on their level and really allowing them to interact with our players and the game and out on the court. And so it was a fun afternoon for us.
Jaime Gordon is our guest, volleyball coach at Morehead State. Of course, Eagles going to be on the road for a little while.
Yep.
You know, you start Friday night with the doubleheader trip to Illinois, Eastern Illinois, Friday night at 8 o'clock Eastern time, and then SIUE coming up on Saturday at 3. You know, that's 2 out of the 4, but 2 tough ones anytime you go on the road.
Yeah, and again, this is where things are going to start to separate. You know, how we do in the on the road, 4 big matches. If we can come back, maybe 3-1, that's a good couple road trips for us. And I've always said, you win championships on the road. You can lose them at home, but you've got to go out and win them on other people's court.
Well, you're 4-0 in the league right now. Tennessee State is 3-1. Jacksonville State's also 3-1. And Belmont is 2-2. In the early going, because we're 4 games into it, any surprises in the league standings?
No, it's one thing in my time here in this conference is you recognize there are no surprises because on any night somebody can knock off, and it's a very competitive league with some very talented volleyball players that participate in it, and so when you kind of after we're finished with a match and we get online and either we're watching the end of a couple matches or looking at the live stats, we always know that it's going to be something exciting, something new, and I think that. You've got some teams, Southeast Missouri, who's playing very well right now in the other division that looks like may have a fun matchup with them come later on in the month. But again, there's just solid play all the way from top to bottom in the league right now.
Yeah, tell us a little about it. I know people have asked the fact that not all sports, but some sports have split into divisions this year. Volleyball is one of them. You're in the East, and I mentioned the East a while ago, Morehead, Tennessee State, Jacksonville State, Belmont, Eastern Kentucky, and Tennessee Tech. And then on the other side, it's SEMO, SIUE, Austin P, and I get my sheet here, UT Martin, Murray State, and Eastern Illinois. How are things going to work postseason-wise this year?
Well, what we'll do is that we'll have 8 teams, 8 of the 12 teams that will qualify. We'll take the top 8 teams in the league that will play in the conference tournament. We've got 16 matches, so we play everybody in our half twice, both home and away, and then on the other. In the West Division, we'll play each of those teams once. So we're fortunate enough to have gotten, like for example, Murray State, who we only play once. We get them at home. We have Southeast Missouri at home as well. But then our one shot at a team like Austin P or this weekend in Eastern Illinois and SIUE, we got to do that on the road. So you've got to take advantage of those opportunities.
Is it a better postseason with the more teams involved?
I think so. I think anytime that the exciting part about a tournament environment is the player, the student athlete experience. And so the more teams that you have participating in it, the more athletes that you have participating in, I think the better the event can be.
So of course the league winner will host it. Now, how would they decide that with the division play?
Overall record. Overall record. So, that's where when you have those one-shot opportunities across division, you've got to make the most of it because if there would be a tie in record, you're going to go to the head-to-head. And so when you only have somebody one time, you've got to take advantage of it.
That makes every game count now.
Absolutely.
Of course, Eastern Illinois on Friday night, SIUE on Saturday, and then, of course, next weekend they'll be taking on Jacksonville State on Friday and Tennessee Tech, and their next home match will be on Friday against SEMO, which could end up being a big match if everything works out okay, because that's still may be the leader of the East against the leader of the West.
Right. Well, and it's only going to be a big match if we can go out on the road and take care of business. I expect SEMO to come in here with a very strong record. But again, it's only a big matchup if we're taking care of our side.
What do you do, as we said, on the road? We talk about trying to get the films in and everything else. It's, do you leave Thursday? Do you leave Friday to make the trip? How's the travel plans on the volleyball weekend?
Well, we'll head out Thursday, kind of early afternoon. Get up there we'll be up at Eastern Illinois. Try and get a good night's sleep. Get up in the morning, breakfast. We'll have our strength coach kind of stretch us out and get the blood flowing. We'll head in for a little serve and pass at their facility. Kind of go over scout again. Have our pregame meal, kind of rest a little bit, and then it's game time. Gotta be ready to go. And as soon as that match is over, quick turnaround. We get on the bus. We usually have dinner delivered to the gym. We're eating it on the bus on our way down to Edwardsville. And
of course, people don't realize. I mean, 8:00 Eastern time, so you get over with. As you say, you board the bus. You got some travel before you get to Edwardsville.
Yeah.
So check in the hotel. And get some rest, and you're right back up to it again.
But and that's the one of the things that is really great about this team is that we have a fantastic team chemistry, and so they really enjoy being around each other. They look forward to those opportunities, and so when you're spending a lot of time on the road with people, that can either be a good thing or a bad thing. And I think in our case, it's a very positive thing that we get a chance to really kind of hang out.
Eastern Illinois on Friday night, SIU. Edwardsville on Saturday. Jaime, we'll talk to you next week, hopefully with 2 more wins and extend that to 12.
All right, thanks.
Jaime Gordon, volleyball coach here at Morehead State. We'll come back with more. This is the Eagles Sports Coaches Show.